Hello everyone, what I want to discuss now is the Major Area Briefing Memo assignment and its associated rubric. And what this assignment is a capstone project for the course. What I want you to do is write exactly 2 full pages, double space, no more, no less, that's 2 full, double space, 12-point font pages, all the way to the end. 1.5 is too short, 2.5 is too long, exactly 2 pages, in which you explain to how one or more core course concepts apply to your primary field of study or your intended career. So I know a lot of people who take this course are non-political science majors or even non-social science majors, but as I talk about in the first video, political science is everywhere, not just politics. And so it touches every aspect of all of our lives. And I want you to apply something you learned during this class to something in real life that you are going to do, whether that's your major field of study or your intended career. So, for example, if you are a nursing major, perhaps you talk about some stuff that we discuss in civil rights and civil liberties and how that relates to social determinants of health. I'm certain you have to take a course on that. If you are a business major, maybe you talk a little bit about political economics. We only touch on that slightly in the course, but still, it might be a nice thing to integrate into your personal reflection. So how are you going to go about doing this? Well, I want you to cite at least one required reading. You'll see all of those. They are the first item in each of the modules. You're going to cite at least one required reading and one suggested course reading. And you'll see all of the suggested course readings are the final folder in each module. You're allowed to use additional readings from each category, but you don't have to. So that's 2 whopping sources that are required for this paper. And I want you to integrate these readings into your analysis rather than merely summarizing them. So I don't want you to be writing your paper and say, I'm studying the social determinants of health. And in this paper by Keynes, Roan, Heron, and Schatz, I don't think I assigned that paper, but in this writing of Keynes, Roan, Heron, and Schatz, they discuss civil rights in relation to the 14th Amendment. Their argument is X, and their findings say Y. And I learned a lot from this paper because blank. That's very, very poor writing. What I want you to do rather is say that X fact exists. Parenthetical citation, Keynes, Roan, Heron, and Schatz. And this relates to my personal career goals or major of study because why? And then dive into that a little bit more. Really analyze, don't just synthesize here. Now, for those of you taking this course who are political science majors, I don't want you to connect the memo just to your major because that's super easy. I want you to connect it to a specific career goal you might have. And I know that a lot of you are freshmen. Maybe you don't have that fleshed out. Just maybe think, hey, maybe I want to work on a campaign in the future. Or maybe I want to be a policy wonk. Or maybe I want to go to law school. Relate those readings and those core concepts from the class into your memo more specifically. And I want you to write it as if you're briefing a busy decision maker. This is the same kind of thing as your current event breakdowns. You got to get to the point. You only got 2 pages here, so really get down your thoughts in a parsimonious manner. And you can do this by using theory to explain why political concepts matter to the work of your field that you have selected. Get to the point. How do you do that? Well, your introduction, which should be incredibly brief. You don't need a full half-page paragraph introduction for a 2-page memo. In fact, if you do that, you're wasting space. Identify your primary field of study and intended career, then state the memo's purpose and preview the connection you're going to develop. That could just be like 2 sentences. Then your body, that's the meat and potatoes. That's where you really focus on how the theory and how the information, the core concepts of the class apply to what you're writing about. That should really be the core of what you're writing here. And then in your conclusion, this again is 1 or 2 sentences, synthesizes the memo's central takeaway without repeating something in the body. Again, with this assignment and your current event breakdowns, you should just use this last few sentences of conclusion as your mic drop. What's the takeaway here? All of this writing you've done, what does it mean? And as with every major written assignment in this class, you must include in-text citations and a separate complete works cited page or bibliography and a consistent citation style. I don't care what citation style you use. If you're a history major, use Chicago, preferably with endnotes. If you're a psych major, use APA. If you're an English major, use MLA. If you are any of those majors and want to do a different citation form, do whatever, as long as it's consistent. I just need to understand where you're getting your stuff from. Okay, in-text citations and a bibliography, and there are links under the Basecamp module that take you to the Purdue Online Writing Lab that really have solid examples of all of these writing citation styles and how to integrate them into your paper. Okay, so you have to submit this assignment by December 9th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. I would advise that you not wait that long because you'll be taking your final over that period. The recommended target date for this is December 1st. If you have any questions about the assignment, please reach out to me at least a week and a half in advance, and I would gladly meet with you to discuss your paper. When you submit, you must submit as a Word .docx file or a .pdf file. Do not submit it as some random link to a OneDrive file or a Google Drive file. It is so hard for me to grade those, view them, and comment on them. Let's make it easy. Just download a .docx file or a PDF file to your local device, whether that's a tablet or a computer that you're writing on, and just upload that file directly to Blackboard like they did in the dark ages. It's really easy. I will take points off if you do not do that. The fun part, generative AI. This is a personal reflection. If you use generative AI to tell you how you feel about the course concepts and how they relate to your future career goals, I'm sorry, but that makes you an idiot. Please don't do that. Have your own thoughts and put them down on paper. It's not that difficult to write 2 pages without having them produced whole cloth from ChatGPT. As with your current event briefing memos, or current event breakdowns, you are permitted to use it as a copy editor if you don't have a friend to be a peer reviewer. I would also recommend using the Writing Center. They're pretty good at that stuff, but if you don't want to do that, have it remove passive voice from your writing, have it do an overview and suggest edits that you can make, but make sure that the core of the content is your own ideas. Again, if you have to have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever produce your own personal reflection about how your career goals relate to things you learned in this class, I'm sorry, but that is kind of sad and pathetic. And I will personally judge you. I hope you would feel bad about yourself for doing that. This is not meant to be a hard assignment. In that vein of it not being meant to be a hard assignment, I do include your rubric on the second page here. I have 3 columns here. Excellent is the top 4 to 2 points. Satisfactory is kind of your middle range, and needs improvement is basically the lower 50%. If you get all in the needs improvement category, you've basically failed the assignment. That shouldn't be a problem, though, because if you follow everything in this highly detailed rubric and everything on the instructions page here, everybody in the class should get an A. Also, if you're confused, please reach out to me. This rubric, in addition to being on this PDF that is available both in its own folder under Basecamp as well as in the instructions of the assignment, is available in a format through Blackboard itself. I integrated the rubric directly into Blackboard so you can view it there if you don't like how this looks. All right, everybody, I look forward to reading what you submit for this. It's one of my favorite things to do in the class, and please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me questions.